The Brew House was created to capture and share with you the long history of the Genesee Brewery. But the brewery itself isn't half as interesting as the beer and the people who make it. Visit GeneseeBrewHouse.com.
Hi everyone, and thanks for joining us in the Rochester Press Box. I'm Bill Pucko, and we are very happy to be joined this week. This has been a long-term process. We've been negotiating for 5 years with your agent to get you here. Leo Roth, the lead columnist of the Democrat Chronicle.
I made the mistake by going to DeTulio's conference championship party, and I ran into this guy, so I had no out.
Yeah,
but I'm happy to be here.
Full court press on it.
happy
Mike
to be
Catalana,
Good to be back.
I
I couldn't grow the beard fast enough. I tried.
It's a good effort. Though.
I know.
Leo, I want to talk a little bit about the sports reporters. This is sort of the model that we've created this show out of. 30 years, it's being canceled, its last run in May. These guys were the most credible journalists in the business, and that they're going out, and some of the things that we have are remaining. As a guy who makes his living as a credible journalist, are we headed in a good direction here?
Well, you know, for one, the news was very sad to hear. 30 years, I think that's longer than Gunsmoke and The Simpsons. So which is pretty good. To me, the show was smart. You know, and it did take some of the icons in my business from the newspaper end, and they were seasoned guys. And as the years actually with Lupica and Bob Ryan and guys like that and Mitch Albom, you kind of grew up actually with these guys, and they got old before our eyes, kind of like myself. But I just thought it was for its time, it was very I hate the cutting edge, but it was smart. It was new, and it was kind of like your morning newspaper in a television format.
You say for its time. Why is it? Why aren't those values still valuable?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like why is social media so prevalent? Why do we, as consumers of sports, which we're in the business, but we also consume. We're probably a little disingenuous because I get a lot of my news through Twitter and Facebook, and I'm into all that stuff too. At the same, almost our own worst enemies. But I think as the public, we do want our attention span. We don't want to invest anything into a show a little bit. Sit down for a half hour, listen to these guys, listen to the takes, digest it a little bit, spend some time. I'll speak about it. It's almost like the death of the sports reporters isn't unlike the death of newspapers. So.
Yeah, but I think it's in part not just because of the fact that it was guys that have been around in a long time and all. I think it's just the way it's gone. Leo mentions social media, where everybody has an opinion. And I'm all for everybody having an opinion. I think the issue we've run into is doesn't mean you have to have an opinion on everything all the time. And I think that's why it's caused a problem, because if you have a show where everybody's not in agreement, in lockstep, it seems like, where's that hot take? Where's that fiery take? Where's the one that gets everybody thinking the other way? Because what happens now? Someone says something on Twitter, even a credible source, and right away, bang, 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 back and forth. People don't want to sit and listen to calm, rational thought.
My opinion is fact. Your fact is just an opinion. And it's just what I think is right. You see, if you click on any Twitter thread, yours, mine, anything, where you state something that is your opinion. Idiot, you're out of touch. You're wrong. This is what's really going on. And instead of this discourse and a discussion, you get this angry yelling back and forth with Twitter eggs and people who have a dog as their profile picture and don't want to actually put their name or face to anything. We live in this weird reality right now where sometimes actual statistics and actual facts don't necessarily mean anything, but we can't argue civilly about opinions. And I feel like these shows, no matter what, you're going to have something that lines up with your opinion, and you're going to get to watch someone yell about it.
Affirmation. I think our buddy Colin Cowherd talks about, says people don't look for information anymore, they look for affirmation.
Yep. Well, it's a world of alternative facts, right? I mean, that's the buzzword.
On the same week, it strikes me that it's the same week that phrase is invented that they lay off the sports reporters.
Yeah. I just enjoyed the sports reporters because even though it got a little bit, they could get into a little bit. Mostly there was a lot of conversation there and respect for opinions, and they could be funny or they could be serious, and they signed off. And I guess what do we balance it with on ESPN? There are a lot of the popular shows are very, a lot of ex-jocks, a lot of maybe not as informed people. I don't mind, ex-athletes. But when I see 12 of them on a set, I get a little, what is going on here?
You know what the other difference is between those shows is the sports reporters would take, in my opinion, and I think maybe a lot of people, an actual topic and discuss it.
Drill into it.
What do they do on the other shows?
Who's better?
Or this
Rodgers?
one. You know, the day after the Cowboys lose in the playoff game, one of the epic playoff games we've seen with 2 rookies as the main guys, should Jason Garrett be fired? Go at it. Jason Garrett is not getting fired the day
Probably
after the
coach
playoff
of the
game.
year.
Right. But that is, so again, that wouldn't have been a topic on the sports reporters.
Right.
The sports reporters would have been, are we too quick to judge coaches or players, and maybe a bigger, instead it became
Clicks
that.
and hot takes. It's all about
it.
what gets you a click for 10 seconds.
Alternative facts. Jeez. This is the Rochester Press Box. I'm Bill Pucko. Leo Roth is our special guest this week. We're going to talk Buffalo Bills next.
The Press Box, brought to you in part by Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys. Call 262-COMP, C-O-M-P, today.
Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brew House. We'll be at the Brew House a week from this coming Wednesday. We record at 12:30, and we invite you to come down and watch the show. This portion of the Press Box brought to you by Connors and Ferris. We're talking Buffalo Bills. Every time Chris Hogan caught a pass for the Patriots last week, didn't you just like... Urgh.
It was a little fun trolling, really, really angry Bills fans a little bit. I think Whaley wasn't privy to the fact that Chris Hogan was good, and it generated all sorts of responses. It does, Mike and I have talked about this, it does absolutely have a little something to do with the guy who was throwing him the football. And his regular season stats were okay. Chris Hogan stats, he caught more yards per pass. I think he led the league. But otherwise, it's like, all right, we knew he was a good player. He had an amazing game in the playoffs. There's no disputing that. He was, outside of Tom Brady, the MVP of that game. Chris Hogan would have looked good as the number 3 receiver for the Bills this year. He would have looked better than Marquise Goodwin after Sammy Watkins went down for 8 games. But to say that we could have seen that coming, I don't think the Patriots did either.
It's kind of easy to take shots then, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Well, it is, and let's be honest. We've been watching enough years of this. If it wasn't Chris Hogan, it would have been somebody else. I'm happy for him. Good guy, worked his way into the league. Would he have helped the Bills? Sure he would have. But we've seen it before with guys in Foxborough that he has made better players. And the interesting thing about them is he did this in this game. Same stats as Julio Jones. Guess what? If Julio Jones doesn't have that kind of game in the Super Bowl, they don't have a chance. Chris Hogan may play in the Super Bowl with 1 catch for 9 yards, and the Patriots will find 3 other guys. It'll be Blunt and Bennett and Edelman, and somebody else will pick up the slack because we've seen it before. No disrespect to Hogan, and the Bills deserve a lot of grief for a bunch of things that they've done. He would have helped them, not that much, and Brady would have found somebody else if it wasn't Hogan.
Leo, what do you make of Doug Whaley's foundation of success? Exactly what is that, and how do we get to it?
Well, he doesn't have any foundation of success. On these, the players that we were talking about here, Chris Hogan, and there's also Alan Branch, starts at defensive end tackle for the Patriots, and Andy Levitri is the other one that'll start at guard for Atlanta. In all 3 of those cases, and I don't make it a habit of defending the Bills much because they don't give you much to defend over the last 17 years, but I wrote about it this week. In those three individuals, I can defend in every chance what the Bills did, what Whaley did. In the case of Alan Branch, they got one good. He was a high-round pick of Arizona years ago, a troubled player. The Bills got a decent year out of him, and they gave him a contract extension. So it wasn't like they wanted to get rid of him. They gave him a contract extension, and he paid them back by getting a DUI one night and throwing up out of his car door at 2 a.m. And of course, the next day he was gone. Now, And then you guys covered Chris Hogan real well. Yeah, they, you know what? They ended up on Super Bowl teams, but I think in each one of those cases it was a matter of just how the NFL does business. So I don't want to rake Whaley over the coals too much on it. You can always look back and say, boy, I wish they had it. I mean, Hogan, you know, you're not going to pay your number 3 receiver $4 million either. New England's so well managed that they can do stuff like that. He's a Belichick player through and through. You guys know that.
Right.
And for 3 years, twice a year, Belichick was taking notes.
Yep.
And when he came to a restricted free agent, he gave him an offer he couldn't refuse and an offer the Bills couldn't match.
Winning is all about players and winning.
Right? That was his thing. No, it is. And you do have to get to the point, though, where you say, if you overpay for guys like Chris Hogan, Andy Levitri, or Jarvis Bird, then you have no chance to grow. The problem is the Bills haven't grown enough in the other places. I'll just say this. Robert Woods. How much you want to pay Robert Woods? If Robert Woods goes to, say Cincinnati, okay, maybe he'll have an okay time, probably similar was with the Bills with Andy Dalton. If somehow he went to New England, my guess is Robert Woods would be catching a lot more balls too. How much do you want to pay him to stay in Buffalo?
Yeah. This is the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brew House. This portion, brought to you by Connors and Ferris, Like It or Not, is next.
The Press Box Trivia Question, brought to you by Sleep City. Queen adjustable bed with memory foam mattress, now $977. Save over $500. Shop Rochester's only locally owned mattress store. No pressure, no hassle sales experience. Here's a look at the Press Box Trivia answer, brought to you by Sleep City. Queen adjustable bed with memory foam mattress, now $977. You save over $500. Shop Rochester's only locally owned mattress store. No pressure, no hassle sales experience. See New York in a whole new way. Amtrak is offering a 15% discount for all travel inside New York State and to Montreal. Visit Amtrak.com for the See New York discount. Safe, comfortable, affordable, and easy. Amtrak. Enjoy the journey.
Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brew House. This portion brought to you by Amtrak Trains. Enjoy the journey. Michael, like it or not, Pats have been installed as an early 3-point favorite.
I think it's a little lower than I would have expected. I thought it might have been a little bit higher. Atlanta's been really solid the whole way through. And we know New England is New England. Because of their history, Brady, Belichick, winning, you know they're going to come up with a great game plan. I think it would make sense. Atlanta's been more impressive, I would say, in those games, because you certainly look at what the road that the Patriots have had. I mean, Houston is a poor team with a poor quarterback, and Pittsburgh looked kind of shot in that game. All credit to New England for how they played, but I think Atlanta has been a little more impressive. I think that's what's kept the line at that 3 points. We'll see if it moves all that much, but I think that makes for a good Super Bowl.
I would have thought it was be inflated in New England.
4 or 5 to get some more money on New England or on Atlanta, but it didn't happen.
Fun stat about Atlanta is last 8 games, they've scored less than 30 once. It was 28 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Over that span, 37.5 points per game. Yeah. They are on an unbelievable pace right now. And I think if they played in perhaps a sexier market, maybe they'd be getting a little more love for the offense that they have. They're getting it now that they're in the Super Bowl.
Hey, Leo, does that remind you of any team going on an offensive run leading to the Super Bowl against a Bill Belichick defense?
And then Belichick comes up with something. Well, we have number 1 scoring offense against the number 1 scoring defense in Belichick. And oh, by the way, the Patriots have a guy named Brady and a pretty good offense themselves that can run the ball. This New England team is the most balanced that Belichick has had in quite some time.
Yeah.
And of course, last week we see it, against the Steelers. They couldn't run the ball. You just throw the ball.
Yeah.
It's amazing how they can switch it. I'm looking forward to a good game. I do like Atlanta and the fact that defensively they're not real strong statistically, but they do a couple things really well, and that's they play the run well and they get after the passer.
Yeah.
A guy like Vic Beasley, a Clemson player that did pan
Display.
out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's the key to beating Brady, obviously, like anybody. You get a little pressure on them, and they are capable of doing that. I'm still inclined, it's Belichick, it's Brady, it's the Patriots, not popular, but I would still take
It's a little bit of a
I would give those points and take New England.
Yeah.
At this point, it's probably going to change.
Quickly, Johnny Manziel swears off Twitter.
Good. Stay off. I mean, enough said. He should just stay away from it. It's caused him too many problems. Whether he disappears with no reason, whether he says something he shouldn't say. Learn from your mistakes, Johnny. Log off.
This alone isn't going to do it for him, though, is it?
No, he has to change his life, and he has to prove to somebody that he can be a productive NFL person and a player. He needs to go to the right team to get an opportunity. I don't know exactly who that team is, but it would be in that third string quarterback rehab your life part.
Go
and
be
then
a
try
good
to work your way
teammate.
up.
Go be a good teammate.
Put it this way, hard to believe that Johnny Manziel would be giving us all advice to live by, and that was, I'm going to get the hell off Twitter, and I'm going to better myself. Let's all listen to Johnny's words.
This is the Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brew House. This portion brought to you by Amtrak Trains. Enjoy the journey. Unfinished Business is next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week brought to you by Fiondoc and Fiondoc. Remember, if you've made the wrong choice, it's time to make the right choice. Fiondoc and Fiondoc, New York's DWI leader for over 35 years. Visit nydwi.com. Brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts, the official coffee of the NHL. America runs on Dunkin'.
Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brew House. Unfinished Business, brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. Toby.
All right, the Buffalo Bills are in the middle of what we used to call the NFL offseason, but as we all know now, there is no offseason, especially when you fire your head coach, have a decision to make on the quarterback, and all sorts of other things. 24-hour coverage for the next 365 days is a guarantee. Here's one thing about the Bills. Everyone has hot takes on who the quarterback should be, whether the offensive coordinator was a good hire, whether you should have gone with someone who's younger. How about we just give this new coach a chance? And I mean a real chance to succeed. Not another 2-year window. I know Doug Marrone left surprisingly after 2 years, but give someone a few years. Install their system. Install their culture. Let the offensive coordinator try to work. Let's see what the Bills decide to do at quarterback. I'm not saying don't have an opinion. As we've discussed earlier, everyone is entitled to one. But if we want to change in culture, we also have to change the way we react to the way everything is going on around us. Give this guy, give McDermott a shot to do what he says he's going to do.
It's social media. And it always strikes me, too, that how ill-equipped we are to substantively talk about some of the things that we try to be experts on.
If you go talk to these people face-to-face who have these hot, quick takes, they generally, oh, no, I wasn't saying, sure, we can't replace face-to-face communication. We've got to find a way to get back to that.
Leo.
The Buffalo Sabres, long-suffering fans. I feel your pain, you people out there. Yeah, I know you've been looking for a sign. I think we got our sign. 3 consecutive overtime wins, including last night's victory as we tape this over Nashville on Jack Eichel's "we're not worthy" goal. It was tremendous. You know, a team has to get on a roll. It's got to get hot. It's got to find something. And if you can win 3 in a row in overtime, I think we got something. They're 4 points out of a wild card spot. The team's loaded with some good players. I really like what Okposo's done for them. I love Kel O'Reilly. I think he's one of the best players in the league. Goaltending always an issue, but Leonard and Anders Nielsen combined, their goals against is like 2.5. That's good enough to win. It's good enough to get on a roll. it might be good enough to save Dan Bilsman's job, too.
Won't know what to do if hockey in Western New York becomes relevant again. It's been a while.
They
Right.
could use it. Speaking of being relevant, on the PGA Tour, the last time a Rochester person, of course we're talking about Greece's Jeff Sluman, won on the regular tour was back in 2002, and Dom Bazzelli gave it a shot. McQuaid grad, Pittsford guy, worked his way up. We've talked about him here before on the show. Worked his way up through the tours, and now he's getting a shot on the PGA. And this past week, he showed he belonged, played great, really played great for all 4 rounds, had a little rough stretch in the end when he was trying to get the win. But what he showed against some of the best golfers in the world is that he does belong. Made some money, it's getting him close. He's playing this weekend in the same field with Tiger Woods out there this week. Dom has shown, and Gavin Hall will follow him soon on the Pro Tour, that pro golf can be relevant in Rochester, not just when they all come to Oak Hill to play in a major event.
Yeah, it was more compelling than the football games watching on Sunday, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was.
Isn't it amazing to get golfers and baseball players out of Rochester? It happens.
know.
It happens.
Yeah.
With our weather.
This portion of the Rochester Press Box Unfinished Business brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. Leo, nice job. We'll have to do this sometime inside of 5 years
Thanks.
now, right?
Well, whenever it's at the brew house, I'm in.
That's it. See, that's the beers.
Remember you said that. Mike,
right.
thanks again. Toby
All right.
for sitting in for Pat Duffy. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week with the Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brew House.